Welcome, everybody, to the Synapse Philosophy Group. Our podcast is coming straight to you from Chiropractic Central. And we are on page 659 of D.D. Palmer's book from 1910, The Chiropractor's Adjuster. And this chapter is called Tone. Very important chiropractic chapter. All right. The basic principle of the science and philosophy, not the art in parentheses, of chiropractic is tone. I'm going to stop right there. The basic principle of science and philosophy is tone. Let's just say that sentence the way he's meant to saying it. Okay, so he says the basic principle of the science and philosophy, not the art in parentheses, of chiropractic is tone. A word of 4 letters, yet it comprises a whole thought, a complete sentence. Grammatically, it is entire, inasmuch as it expresses a complete thought. Basic is pertaining to the basis, the fundamental, or the foundation. A basic principle is the foundation, the source, the origin, and from which other principles may proceed or are not derived. The science and philosophy of chiropractic is built on tone. All right, let's just pause there. What do you guys think? Any insights?
It's pretty clear. it's,
Pretty darn clear. The source of every chiropractic principle, which, whether philosophical or pathological, is founded upon tone. That one word means as much to a chiropractor who desires to comprehend the basis of chiropractic in its scientific or philosophical phase. Tone is that state or condition of a body or any of its organs or parts in which the organic or animal functions are performed with due vigor. Okay. He just defined tone. Okay. And he didn't even put that in bold. Okay. Definition. I always outline these books with the only thing post-it notes are good for or making annotations in books. I can't stand post-it notes, but I always use them and I'm out of them for my notes to myself. But this is Dee Dee's definition of tone. This is a very, very important chapter. People post all the time. What is tone? What did Dee Dee mean by tone? He related out here. This is like he's explaining what seems to be very difficult to explain for chiropractors. But this is the adjuster of the chiropractor, and that's what he's doing. Should I keep going?
yes.
The tone or tension of muscles and organs depend upon the tonicity of the nervous system. Tone is biology, is the normal tension or firmness of nerves, muscles, or organs. The reticent elastic force acting against an impulse. Any deviation from normal tone, that of being too tense or too slack, causes a condition of reticence. Too much elastic force, too much resistance, a condition expressed in function as disease. Tonicity or tone is a quality belonging to solids. It is normal when the tension or partial contraction of nerves and muscles are at rest. In botany, a plant is said to be in tone when the relations of light, heat, and moisture are evenly balanced. That is, when the conditions are such as will produce a normal tension in its fibers. It's pretty interesting. He doesn't use analogies very often like that. Too much or too little heat causes the plant to wilt. Its fibers become lax. In music and acoustics, the science of tone, including its production, transmission, and effects, stringing instruments, bowed with the violin, as in the violin, plucked as in the harp, guitar, and mandolin, struck as the piano and the dulcimer, or blown upon as in the aeolian harp,
Aeolian.
Aeolian harp, are said to be in tone when the vibrations impress the ear in relation of harmony. All life, vegetable or animal, depends upon tone for its normal or abnormal existence. Tone is the basic principle which I founded the science and developed the philosophy of chiropractic. A chiropractor should be well versed in osteology. It's the last line. Before he said that last line, there's a big line ending what he's saying about tone. Okay, man. I've actually been waiting to read that my entire chiropractic life. I'm serious. I have not seen that. I haven't gotten this far in the book. Page 659, Chiropractic Founded Upon Tone. This is from within this book where he describes his title page, right? So I think that's a poignant moment. I need a dog ear this until I find a man. I know I have one around here somewhere, but I got a dog ear this one.
Here, take one of mine.
Thanks. You helped me out a lot there, Alan Lichter. So this weekend, we had Save the Babies at Life University, which is still such a gorgeous school. I love being at Life University, my alma mater. But we had an amazing time with a welcoming crowd from the board of directors, the president, the vice president. Everyone at Life University was absolutely amazing. So I just want to give a shout out. Thank you very much. And Maggie Rogers, thank you. So much help this week and months leading into this. And we had an amazing event. And we filmed the movie Save the Babies. So, Bob, you got a glimpse of that at Innate Baby Adjusting. And what we went through those slides, that was a lot of my presentation about really we have to go in and help babies. Birth trauma, I take care of adults that were wounded as children with cerebral palsy. It's hard. It's hard for everybody. And if we could lower that by 1%, we're saving thousands and thousands of lives, right? Because it's not one person it affects families, villages. So that's what I'm writing the book about, Save the Babies, and we're making the movie and we filmed a lot of it at Life University and at Sherman. But we had Dr. Brian Hooker on, and he was one of the speakers. We had Kevin Fogarty, Dr. Kevin Fogarty, Dr. Gilles Lamarche spoke, myself.
Yeah.
So it was an amazing event. So that was my 2 cents. And after reading about tone, about how we vibed as chiropractors these past few days. So it was great. Any insights on chiropractic tone? Dr. Barry Hobbs, you're unmuting. And the cat's going to say something any minute.
Yes, yes, the cat.
Barry, you're
You
still
can't
muted.
unmute. Okay. Well, we're going to go to the next page.
I just think this is a fascinating little section here, and it clarifies. He talks about tone in other parts, but this is just a real clear definition in stating how it affects everything and in other aspects of life around us, and relates it to, so people can understand when you talk about the tone as far as muscle tension, nerve tension, um, and how it is analogous to effects in botany and in music, and you can change the tone changes in music when you change the tension of the chords of the violin, or the way, or the column of the music of the vibration in a flute. And I think that's fascinating to relate that to how our bodies respond if the tone is not accurate. You can hear a bad note if you hit that violin wrong, or you don't know what you're doing, or play the wrong note. And
Oh,
this is
my
exactly
daughter's,
what happens when our body is out of tone. It doesn't function properly. It's dis-ease. It's no longer
yeah,
in ease. It's no longer in
in
proper
harmony with
balance.
the rest of the systems,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
I'm
that's what
skip
balances the rest of the systems.
I'm skipping to 661 now. Okay, 661. And you'll see why. There's a lot of good stuff on here. Right after in the page in between is It's about osteology, orthopedia.
Orthopedia.
It's not very exciting. Okay, so we're going to skip to chiropractic is the title of this one on page 661. In volume 1, 1905, chiropractor is the following, which corrections in italics adjusting to the date. Chiropractic was discovered in 1895 by D.D. Palmer. He developed the science until he feels proud of it. Chiropractors find nearly all diseases are caused by subluxations of vertebra, which impinge upon nerves. When nerves are free to act normally in their entire course, there is health. Chiropractors definitively locate definitely locate displacements of osseous tissue, the cause of disordered conditions. When these luxated joints are replaced and the impinged nerve freed, functions are no longer abnormally performed. The medical world has long recognized luxations of the spinal column accompanied with fracture, but have always insisted that it was almost impossible to displace a vertebra. The condition which physicians call wrenched or sprain of the back are chiropractors' luxations. These may be caused by a variety of accidents occurring when one is asleep or awake. Many a mother or her child have been injured at delivery by displacements of some of the 117 joints of the spine. In It is the chiropractor's business to repair subluxated articulations. Therefore, therefore, by freeing the impinged nerves so that they may act normally. I've got to get that
You
because,
got to mark that one down for
oh
your
man,
babies.
yeah, I just sent one to uh, Dr. Hooker from the 1906 of, I'm sure it was Dee Dee, but it could have been Dee Dee or BJ in the 1906. And I sent it to Dr. Hooker of two quotes. One of them, be careful of the vaxi radii, death sludge producing death producers, right? So he was warning us against vaccines. And then he was talking about chemicals and toxins causing subluxation from the vaccine given by the needle of the doctor. So 1906, the chiropractors have been on the vaccine bandwagon, fighting for their patients' rights to be well. This isn't new to us, right? And when we're on some of these things, we meet a lot of parents and families that, including Dr. Hooker, his son is vaccine wounded. And, but, when we start talking about these things that have early life trauma to the cervicals, that's the next thing we've got to get healthy. But chiropractors have been on that vaccine bandwagon a long time. For years after writing the above, I promulgated the following principles of chiropractic. Now, this whole paragraph's in bold, okay? So think about it that way. Life in action, governed by intelligence. Intelligent life, the soul, depends upon the execution of functions performed by normal energy is health. Disease is the result of the performance of functions above or below a normal degree of activity. Impulses properly transmitted through nerves result in functions being normally performed, a condition which results in health. The motive force may be exaggerated or decreased during its transit, but because the lines of communication are excited or repressed, the vegetative function rely upon the amount of energy expressed by vital functions. The normal carrying capacity of nerves upon which their freedom from pressure, the abnormal upon the force of impingement. Bones are the only hard tissue which can press against and impinge upon nerves. Okay. I had to read that with a little drama since it was all bold. But he just explained chiropractic, you realize. Okay. And in a chiropractic way from D.D. Palmer, I got to write that down. Explanation of chiropractic. And he gave us the principles. This is the principle. The fundamental principle of chiropractic is tone. The science and art of chiropractic is founded on anatomy, physiology, pathology, nerve tracing, and adjusting. Physicians who give us 15 minutes attention while explaining chiropractic luxations by the use of specimens at hand admit that there can only be many diseases arising from displacements of the vertebral column, but being able to replace them by hand is a very much doubted until demonstrated. One practical exhibition removes all doubt. Okay. So it's hard to explain. He's saying it. It's tough to get people to understand what you've been teaching them. I mean, we had, like I just said, this is like, the board of directors was in the audience, the chiropractors, everyone, the president. And you know what? We all had the same thing. We've been teaching our people forever. When are they going to get it? And it's not up for them to get it. We keep teaching, going bigger and bolder and showing really what we can do. You've got to receive it. You got to get a chiropractic adjustment, right? Once you feel the difference between being subluxated and not subluxated, there's no you can't equate that to anything else. What do you guys think? Go ahead, Bob.
It seems like innate, an expression of innate depends upon this vibrational energy that runs through us, and so we are either expressing correctly or we're miscorrected. It's almost like innate in and of itself is not enough except for to add to that there's expression that's clear.
Yeah, absolutely. That's clear expression of light when we're vibrating, in tune. When you just, you say, you're vibing, everything's moving right, the office is running perfectly. You see a dozen more than you really thought you did because everything ran so smoothly, right? You're just in tune with the universe. Everything's in the flow. Those moments are when you're in bliss. Absolutely. I love that. What next?
So, can I jump in?
Yes.
So now that I got my microphone working and I'm resetting the settings here. So you said a couple of things right there about luxations and the bones impinging on the nerves. So Dee also used the word luxations a lot compared to subluxations. And then also a key difference there. So sometimes when we do, especially now with technology, we do these searches, we need to look for luxations, not just subluxations. Also, the past couple of weeks, because of ICA changing their definition, looking up a lot of this stuff, but also posterior arch used to be called posterior ring, not posterior arch. So now with technology and we're downloading and digitizing all this stuff, you technically have to be, you guys will love this, very specific in what we say, right? And words change, things change over time. So you mentioned luxations of two bones impinging on the nerve. Well, as we know in Stevenson's definition, it's the vertebrae above and below. Well, D.D. Palmer was about the neuroskeleton. And so one of the things that I said too in an upper cervical group is the atlas is a vertebrae. The occiput is not a vertebrae. It's an occiput. It's a bone. So that's the major subluxation, right? Sigafus talks about it. D.D., a lot of people talk about it. But technically, it's not a vertebrae. So D.D.'s definition of articular surfaces, bones impinging on the nerves, is actually correct 100% scientifically. And it's also with him saying neuroskeleton. So if you stick with the definition of just the vertebrae above and below, technically that's not true with the occiput on the atlas. Now the sacrum is considered a vertebrae in science, but not the occiput. So back on page 659, He said tone or tension of muscles or organs depends on the tonicity of the nervous system. So most of us think of us as musculoskeletal doctors, right? And then if they think about it, we start talking about organ health and the nervous system and getting adjusted. Those are solids, and Bob was just saying this. Tone is from innate. Tone is the immaterial. Tone is the power. Tone is source. The body is the material, and it has to have that transmission, creation, and expression of that. So Dee Dee said right there on that big page on 659 tone or tension of the muscles and organs depends on the tonicity of the nervous system. So that expression of. He also says tonicity or tone is a quality belonging to solids. That's key. That's the connection of the immaterial to the material. And that's what I was trying to say earlier when I had my microphone shut off because of Al, I call it AI, not listening to me. And I forgot that I had it off on Zoom. So I wanted to tune in with that and right off of Bob's comment there, that it's the immaterial to the material here. And that's what Dee Dee is connecting, and he has connected here.
So let me ask a question towards you, Barry. So related to what you were just saying, the sphenoid, the sella turcica, and the horns on the coccyx are mirror images of each other. And if that's torqued, it changes the tone of the entire column. How does that fit?
If there's impingement, it fits.
It's not an impingement if it creates a different tension because they are, torqued or out of a proper position where they would normally be in relationship.
Gotcha. So Dee Dee's talking renetnesy here, elasticity. He doesn't necessarily say tension, does he?
But tension is what changes the tone of a string, which he uses as a clear analogy.
Correct. So it could.
But he
It
did
could.
talk about nerve tension as well. The impingement is the first time I've read Dee Dee really talking about impingement. It was in this last statement. I thought he was going to go back and say this was somebody else.
So Dee 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 Dee's all about impingement. BJ was about pressure. And Dee Dee corrects Dee Dee a lot of times in this book because of the pressure. You can't have pressure. You have impingement. So that's what struck me too, when it was the two bones that were out of alignment that were causing impingement on a nerve. Because just like a musical instrument, right? It's too much or too little. So whether it's the sphenoid or T12 or L1, technically to Dee Dee, it doesn't matter. If there's a nerve that's impinged between two bones, just like an instrument, you're going to get too much or too little of that tonicity. And I love, like you said, his analogy of botany and an instrument, because he did grow raspberries, he did grow trees for his bees and stuff before he became a teacher and before he became a magnetic healer and a chiropractor.
Just for reference, my information about the sphenoid and coccyx comes from torque release techniques that I studied. So with the integrator. So anyway, Thank you. That was good.
Does somebody want to? Let me read this part. Here you go. The spinal column, by hand, by very such doubted until demonstrated, one practical exhibition resolves all doubt. Okay, this is the top of this page. The spinal column is the central axis of the skeletal frame. It supports the head and ribs, and through them the weight of the upper extremities. The weight is transmitted downwards through the body and the articular processes of the vertebra to the osseous inominity. What the heck is that? On the ossa inominity. Anyway, We'll look that up. The backbone is composed of tiny segments between which are elastic fibrous cartilages. Flexion, extension, and rotation have a normal limit to an extreme extent, which are permitted in all parts of the spinal column. These various movements are due to the imposed elastic cartilage. Wrenches in many ways separate the intervertebral and articular cartilages and displace the vertebra. The projecting sides of the body press against, impinge upon the nerve, thereby deranging functions. Another definition right there. I'm going to pause a minute. What'd you get from that reading?
So you notice how he said, this is a trigger for me now, articular surfaces. So he talked about bunions and corns, right? However, the epicenter is the vertebral column, which has a lot of articular surfaces. So Dee was very specific on articular surfaces misaligning, creating the luxation, the subluxation. So was actually Mabel Palmer in her anatomy book. She talks about articular surfaces. It was Stevenson who really identified the vertebrae. However, if you think about it, reading Dee here and listening, right? It's the articular surfaces, the neuroskeleton. The epicenter is the spinal column. However, he's saying, no, there could be other articular surfaces that are impinging on nerves.
The 5%. All right. How about we pause there? You want to keep going?
Yeah, nothing here.
So why don't we stop right at that part and we'll pick up in this same spot. Okay. 662. It's a good area, and I think we're going to have a lot of good stuff there. So you guys, it was good seeing you tonight, and we'll be back on next Tuesday. And I'll see you guys at New Beginnings. You're going to be at New Beginnings? I'll be there in May. That's 2 weeks, right? 2 weekends. So that'll be a lot of fun. Can't wait to see you guys. And you know, I'm still coming down from my weekend doing Save the Babies at Life, man. I think I need another 20 hours of sleep. And because it was amazing. And they had the Life Leadership Weekend going on at the same time. All these prospective students getting literally a principled introduction in chiropractic. And I came at the Parade of Stars. We call that a DE. We call it the Parade of Stars. And where you've been through the experience, you've never been there before, and you just say what you feel. And man, people were like, it was amazing, the transformations. I mean, some of these kids are coming right out of college. Some people had careers already, but a lot of like young college kids saying, whoa, I can't wait to be a chiropractor. I'm starting the program next month. You know, we need more chiropractors. We need way more chiropractors. We're the best educated natural health approach profession, whatever you want to call it, best educated, well suited to command the natural health world from now into perpetuity. Okay. Plus, we have the biggest student loans, more than most medical doctors, if you didn't know. So this is a lot of them get it for free. I have to tell you that, you know, a large percentage is crazy. So anyway, this is our time as chiropractors. We got to get out there 100%, and we need more tours serving tick. All right. God bless you guys. I love you. I'll see you next week.
See you next week. Get some sleep.
Yeah. Good night.